The Times said, "With Love Meghan review, smug, syrupy, and endlessly spoofable." The Telegraph said, "The Duchess of Sussex's new Netflix series is an exercise in narcissism filled with extravagant brunches, celebrity pals, and business plugs." Ouch. And Vox said, "She's not an expert like Martha Stewart. She's not an icon like Princess Diana. Where does she go from here?"
So, the Meghan Markle has just got her butt destroyed by some brutal reviews of her disgusting cooking show, and I'm pretty sure we all kind of know why. In the never-ending cycle of celebrity side hustles, few have been hyped and mocked as much as Meghan Markle's latest project, With Love, Meghan. Presented as an intimate look into her life, the Netflix series promised a charming mix of cooking, wellness, and personal anecdotes. Yeah, but when it was released, it made less of a splash and more of a thud. The backlash was immediate. Viewers weren't just unimpressed, they were calling it staged, forced, and yet another attempt to manufacture Meghan's brand.
She's the princess of plagiarism. If you look at some of the projects that are featured in the trailer, they're things you could find on Pinterest right now. The little ladybugs, the tomato ladybugs, things like that. I mean, I'm sorry, but ice cream and strawberries, there's nothing groundbreaking about that.
And now the show's launching has sparked a far bigger conversation. Was this ever meant to be genuine, or was it just another PR move gone wrong? When news broke that Meghan Markle would be launching her own Netflix series, expectations were unbelievably high, for whatever reason, considering the fact that a lot of people already hated her.
I just saw her coming. She's a D-list actress, and all she's ever wanted to do was be invited to A-list events. And she's been a social climber from the beginning. She married somebody the first time to socially climb. And for her, Harry was just an entry ticket into all of those circles. Unfortunately, she found someone. She's not very intelligent. She's not very talented. Nobody in America was watching Sue.
However, the former actress and former British royal had some fans, which she previously captivated with her philanthropic efforts and candid interviews. All 7 of them. So she decided to try her luck launching a show that presented a lifestyle series where she invites viewers into a picturesque setting, sharing her culinary skills, gardening tips, and hosting abilities. On paper, it looked kind of promising. At least that's what her diehard supporters claimed before the premiere. Yeah, but once the show aired, those cracks were impossible to ignore.
And Variety's review, which once had Meghan on the front cover looking like the second coming, said, "With Love Meghan is a Montecito ego trip not worth taking." And then there was this from Vogue, and this from Vanity Fair.
Viewers and critics alike slammed it for one glaring issue: a complete lack of authenticity. And maybe that's why the biggest betrayal came not from her usual critics, but from her own fans and the very magazines that once couldn't stop singing her praises.
The Cut famously gave Meghan this cover and a very positive interview. They said, "You only need to watch one episode of With Love Meghan." Time magazine once actually had Harry and Meghan on the front cover as the world's most influential people. They're now saying Netflix's With Love Meghan is a royal primer on entertaining that couldn't be more boring.
Unlike actual lifestyle moguls like Martha Stewart and Rachel Ray, who built their brands on genuine passion and, real expertise, Meghan's attempts at the genre feels painfully forced. I'm talking like not enough fiber bowel movement painfully forced. Experts point out that Stewart and Ray nailed their marketing by striking the perfect balance. Stewart sells aspiration, while Ray thrives on relatability. But Meghan, she misses out on both. Instead of feeling like an effortless lifestyle guru, she comes across as somebody desperately trying to convince the world that she belongs in this space. And that level of fake, that's the reason audiences aren't buying what she's selling.
And then there was this one, and this one, and this one, and this one.
And here's the kicker. The entire series isn't even filmed at Meghan's actual house. Nope, it's shot at rented property. Because nothing says I'm for realsy reals like, lifestyle content that's pretending to be somewhere that it isn't.
It's a fake kitchen, they're fake friends, she's fake, she has no authenticity, and we're really in an era where people want authenticity.
Critics have rightfully called this out, arguing that it strips away any real personal touch, making the whole thing feel as staged as her public persona. Instead of giving viewers an intimate behind-the-scenes look, it feels like Meghan is just curating yet another perfectly controlled image, because God forbid we see anything that's unpolished or real. But the real eyebrow-raising moment, that happened during her chat with actress and writer Mindy Kaling. Throughout their conversation, Kaling casually referred to her as Meghan Markle, prompting a not-so-subtle correction from the Duchess of Sussex herself.
It's funny, you keep saying Meghan Markle. You know I'm Sussex now.
Well, excuse me, princess. How dreadfully common of us low folk to forget your royal status.
I don't think anyone in the world knows that Meghan Markle has eaten Jack in the Box and loves it.
It's so funny, too, that you keep saying Meghan Markle. You know I'm Sussex now. You have kids, and you go, no, I share my name with my children.
Yes.
And that feels so, I didn't know how meaningful it would be to me, but it just means so much to go, this is our family name.
Here, let me give you a hand pulling that stick out of your you-know-what. Oof, clinging to that royal title like a lifeline is just sad and pathetic. It's also Meghan Markle all over. Let's not forget, she and Harry were the ones who chose to step back from royal duties years ago. And now she's getting all huffy-puffy, hickey-gluffy because a guest in her own home called her by her actual name. That's like calling Little Caesars and being pissed that they're selling pizza. Now, of course, people weren't going to let her slide with that so easily. Royal biographer Angela Levin also took aim at her on live TV, pointing out that Meghan refers to Princess Catherine by her maiden name, suggesting a double standard in expectations. But it's okay as long as Meghan does it. God.
This was supposed to be a friend, and this is already telling her off when they've only been 3 minutes. But actually, what I would say in return is that she always calls Princess Catherine Kate.
Yes.
Because she wants to do that, and that's demeaning Kate. So she should keep her mouth shut about this.
And while this sounds like a petulantly childish effort for this lowbrow actress to reconnect herself to the royal name, I mean it is, but it also doesn't work that way.
But palace sources told Richard Eden that was like shots fired, that Meghan is telling the royal family, I don't want you to take away my title, but if you do, I will just legally change my last name to Sussex and you lose that power.
Kind of creepy, right? Not to mention the special guest she chose for the very first episode of her show, her makeup artist. While it might have been kind of cool if he were well known, he's not. It would have also made more sense to invite some Hollywood personality that people would tune in to see, unless, of course, she doesn't have any friends from Hollywood because of her nasty attitude and entitled personality.
They couched this reality show as being her hanging out with her best friends. On the first episode, she has her makeup artist come over, right? This is staff.
I mean, come on. Prince Harry kicked her out of the Invictus Games for crying out loud. Adding fuel to the fire like we need more, Meghan's estranged father, Thomas Markle, weighed in on the show's reception. In a candid interview, he expressed his disappointment, stating he doesn't recognize the person Meghan has become. He said, unfortunately, Meghan has never been authentic. She has to think about everything. She's not spontaneous. He further added, everything she says is pre-planned and rehearsed. It makes me laugh because I know all of her looks and expressions. I know when she's faking it for the cameras. She's trying so hard to be perfect that she tenses up every time the camera's on her. And this is her father's statement, y'all. While the strained relationship between Meghan and her pops is well documented, his comments resonated with critics who felt the show lacked genuine warmth and relatability. This fake face of Sussex could never not be noticed by the viewers. Apart from the set where she recorded her home show and the bee garden that she claimed she had for over a year, the friends she invited to the show also seemed fake. I mean, Mindy Kaling, who Meghan kept on calling my girl, had actually only met her for the second time in her life during the filming of the show. It's not like they were BFFs or even knew each other. Also, The Telegraph rightfully described the show as an exercise in narcissism, where Meghan invites celebrity pals who tell her how amazing she is. Now, I wonder if Meghan really doesn't know how narcissistic she sounds every time she opens up her face, or if she just doesn't care about it anymore. Because let's be real, anybody who doesn't bend over to her is somehow going to end up labeled as a misogynist or a narcissist themselves. I mean, the irony is almost a little too much. And we all know that at this point in time, the show is totally scripted, like more so than the WWE. Why the hell would John Cena do that? He's supposed to be the good guy. Anyway, the dishes she claims she made for her guests and friends weren't even made by herself, and even those friends weren't her real or close friends. And yet, even with the fully scripted setup, she still couldn't stop making everything about herself. Holy hell, if you're gonna fake authenticity, at least do a convincing job of it. Variety's chief correspondent, Daniel D. Addario, described the show as a Montecito ego trip not worth taking, suggesting that it's made with a great deal of love, in the sense that the greatest love of all is the one that a person has for herself. Ooh. Even Megyn Kelly pointed out how obsessed Meghan is with herself, talking about herself all the time. I mean, that says something.
If you look at the first couple of episodes, every comment she makes is about herself. She's got her friend, Uncle Daniel's there, and then there's the Argentinian woman, and then there's a chef she brings in, and Mindy Kaling. So there are no questions or comments about them.
The Guardian didn't hold back either, calling WithLoveMeghan pointless and comparing it to the kind of gormless lifestyle filler that, if made by the BBC, would be used just to pad out episodes of Saturday Kitchen. In other words, if this show were a dish, it'd be soggy toast. No substance, no spice, and completely unnecessary. The Independent gave the show 1 out of 5 stars, saying that the show was nauseous. 1 out of 5 stars for the show. Kind of a bit of a lackluster, crappy Hollywood comeback, ain't it, Meghan? The author of the review stated, "The heady blend of aesthetic curation, inspiring truisms, and those inescapable edible flowers might well leave you feeling a bit queasy." I mean, come on. Because Meghan was so proudly teaching us about home decoration, how to make a perfect and cozy home, and other daily life tips and tricks. She also had this to say in the article. With Love feels like a millennial blog come to life. It's the TV version of The Tig, the website that Meghan launched and ran in her pre-royal jobbing actor days, filmed with all the soft-filtered gloss of a Center Parcs advert. The Times author summarized the series as a duchess presenting her extreme wealth and mind-bogglingly exclusive lifestyle as if it was available to anybody who cares enough to pop a tweet personal label on a homemade beeswax candle or lay a sprig of fresh lavender on a towel. She critiqued the Duchess of Sussex portrayal of her lavish lifestyle, suggesting it was presented as attainable for everybody despite its exclusivity. The Sun's TV anchor Ollie Ross took the criticism to a whole different level, talking about WithLoveMeghan on live TV. He passed some brutal but true comments doubting the authenticity of the show, pointing out Meghan's proud nature and her apparent need to control those around her.
And the body language between them, it's such a tense atmosphere in that kitchen of hers, which tells you everything you need to know about her, and that she is a controlling, passive-aggressive nightmare.
But this is nothing compared to the savage reply when the host asked him about the best part of Meghan's show. Just take a look.
My first question to you, for reasons of economy, is going to have to be, what's right with it? I don't think there's anything right with this program.
She's got a nice swimming pool.
It's not hers, though. It's not hers.
Well, she has access to it, whoever it belongs to.
Ooh, I liked it. Well, the swimming pool. I mean, that was probably the best thing in the whole show. And holy crap, what a pool it was, right? You know, I almost wondered if it was filled with like regular water or like some fancy hand-distilled glacier-fed water with like bubbles from like a luxury brand. Hey man, don't judge me. All right, that was the most important part of the show, the most interesting and intriguing part too, and this is Meghan Markle that we're talking about. This is also the very same Meghan who schooled us on the importance of using distilled water for freezing flowers and ice cubes.
Edible flowers, you could grow them in your windowsill or grow them in the garden. The one thing you need to know though when doing these, I've made this mistake, do not just use tap water. There's a reason, and the reason is if you use distilled water, you're fine. If you boil the
Well, we'll definitely learn from your mistakes, Maggie Poo, by not pretending to be something we're not, and not staging fake cooking shows and interviews that try to manipulate public opinion.
It's going to be one of these shows, I think, where details will leak out over the next week or so about what really went on and who these people really are, whether they've actually met her before or just paid to get. How did they get there?
Yeah.
Who are they?
You know, I honestly hope that it does, because if it's all real, then Meghan's efforts should be acknowledged. And if not, well, then there are a lot of talented people waiting for a chance to show what they've got. Another political commentator and former senior advisor to RFK also talked about WithLoveMeghan in his show.
I want to see the real Meghan Markle. Why don't they do a reality show where Harry leaves the toilet seat up, she falls in and chases him through the mansion with her scrawny legs? That's the show I want to see. We've all heard the stories about Meghan Markle bullying staff at the palace. What about a show where Meghan Markle throws a cell phone at an assistant when she's minorly inconvenienced? Give us a real Meghan Markle show, but this fake, phony, contrived BS is not interesting to any of us.
Look, he's not wrong, because that's what the royal servants and insiders told us about her in the first place. I mean, come on, that's her reality unless she suddenly realized her mistakes and became a good, caring, and loving person, which would be absolutely antithetical to her entire existence, so that's pretty unlikely. Audience reactions have mirrored the critics' sentiments. On Rotten Tomatoes, WithLoveMeghan holds a critic score of 35% and an audience score of 20%, indicating widespread disapproval. Although she has her show on trending number 6 on Netflix, it doesn't look like an achievement, keeping in view the fact that they spent months for the promotion of the show and went as far as to use the California fire disaster to gain sympathy for views, which, by the way, people caught as soon as she uploaded the clip.
I mean, Meghan Markle's show is so boring. It's also like this dystopian fever dream, like California is burning to the ground, but Meghan Markle, this ex-wannabe duchess, is traipsing around a rented mansion in a rented kitchen with her fake friends baking donuts and making rainbow fruit platters, right? So this is supposed to be the woman of the people.
And while Meghan celebrated her show reaching the platform's top 10 list within 24 hours of its release, she also expressed her gratitude on Instagram. Oh my god, you guys, for more recipes, fun, and reasons to check out the show, which in just 24 hours is already in the top 10. Yeah, critics had something else to point out too.
This has come in, so the Netflix charts overnight, right? Now, a program like, with all the pre-publicity, global publicity, even for a lousy program, this should come in at number 1. It's coming at number 6 on the Netflix charts overnight, which I think is a worrying portent for the future.
And look, I totally agree with this, 100%. Meghan may have found a place in Netflix's top 10, but that alone doesn't define its success. The overwhelming criticism from both viewers and critics suggests that the show struggles to connect on an authentic level. While she may have hoped to craft a warm and inviting lifestyle brand, the execution seems to have backfired horribly, leaving a lot of people questioning her sincerity. Maybe this show will serve as a lesson, not just for Meghan, but for any celebrity venturing into the lifestyle space. From a personal standpoint, WithLoveMeghan, okay, feels like a missed opportunity. The potential for Meghan to leverage her platform to highlight meaningful causes, share authentic experiences, and connect with a diverse audience was immense. While the show features high-quality production and aesthetics, it lacks depth and sincerity. The emphasis on aesthetics over substance not only alienates viewers, but also undermines Meghan's credibility as a lifestyle influencer. And maybe that's the reason she's getting absolutely roasted on social media right now, like this.
Welcome to my home. Well, it's not my home, it's a set actually, but welcome to my set. You know, it's actually so funny that you keep calling me Meghan Markle. I'm Sussex now.
You know, for a second there, I thought it actually was Meghan herself, but nah, this guy's actually got way more charisma.